Hi, my name is Elvis. I am a Seattle yogi. I'm a Seattle teacher, yoga teacher, and recently a brand new Seattle business owner. I just took over the I Love Hot Yoga Green Lake, but we changed the name to Seattle Yoga Lounge. So I'm excited to have Seattle Yoga Lounge be a bigger part of the yoga community here in Seattle. I started my yoga journey about 4 years ago. A couple of my friends used to always tell me, you should try yoga, and I used to be like, nah, it's not for me. I used to dance, and I used to do a lot of body work, excuse me, and they thought it would be a really nice compliment to me just liking to move my body. I stumbled into a yoga class and was like, what the hell? Let's just try this stuff out. Little did I know that day would change my life. Since that day, at that time was practicing every single day, and sometimes I would do 2 to 3 classes every day after work. It was what made me happy. All of a sudden, working the 9 to 5 corporate job, I used to work at Jean Juarez, was the buyer, and a couple of other positions there as well. It fueled me. It gave me enough energy to go back the next day. And after a full year, almost to the day of practicing yoga, I taught my very first yoga class. A full year later, I made the journey. Teacher training was one of the most exciting parts of my life. When I jumped into teacher training, I had an idea of wanting to own a business at some point in time. I loved everything that yoga up to then has given me, and it made me so much more confident in everything. I stopped worrying about things that didn't need to be worried about, and I was like, this is what I want to share with everyone. So I joined a teacher training program, became a teacher. I started teaching 1 class a week, and then pretty quickly students started asking for more time, and so I moved up to 2 to 3 classes a week. And on top of teaching 3 classes a week to 4 classes a week, I was still working in my full-time 8 to 5 job. Sometimes I'd teach a 6 a.m. class, and then I would go work for 8 hours, and then I would go back and teach 2 additional classes afterwards. And people thought that was going to burn me out, but what I don't think they understood is that it was the yoga that kept fueling me to be able to do it again and again and again. I made the switch to a full-time yoga instructor 6 months after I taught my first class, and picked up about 13 to 14 classes on a weekly basis, and I've been teaching about 14 classes for about 2 years now, about a year and a half. So the process of my teaching at first has totally evolved from when I first came out of teacher training to now. It's been a lot of self-study, a lot of reading some sequencing books, a lot of taking a lot of classes. I like to consider myself kind of like a guru mutt. I've learned from a lot of different gurus, and I get to pick up things that I really like from other people, and not necessarily like guru as like this teacher has been teaching for a really long time, but also local teachers that I look up to that they may not even know that they are providing that to me. So every day my teaching changes just a little bit. Every day I pick up something new, and I question something new every day. And I think it's those questions that keep me honest on the mat, and that keep me pursuing to incorporate all of those questions into my teachings. So it used to be my teaching method used to be very fast, very cardio based, we have to fit all of these poses because that's what your teacher training program told you to do. Teach this class, it's a good class, and it was a very set sequence. And as I started progressing through my own teachings, I thought to myself, it doesn't have to be that fast. It could be a little bit slower. I can talk a little bit more about philosophy when I wasn't talking about philosophy at the beginning of my classes. I started telling a little bit more stories about myself on why I started the journey of yoga, how it's helped me, and how I've had breakthroughs in my practice. I tell my students when I've cried in class as I practice, because sometimes it brings up emotions that I wasn't aware I was sitting on those emotions until I'm like in the moment and I'm in pigeon pose and now I'm crying. And I get I guess I went from a place of this is what you should teach because that's what they told you to teach, to I started to find my more authentic voice, and I started to feel more authentic in my classes, and that's where my teaching is at now. I teach from the heart and I teach from my experiences, and that's how my classes have evolved. Transition has been almost a year in the making. I've known about this whole process because I started the process about a year ago. And my first initial thought, I was driving home and it was this crazy thought. I was like, yeah, you should try to look into buying the studio. I love the community here, and I've been teaching here for a while, and I thought to myself, yeah, let's do this. So I sent out a message to the owners, and the owners, agreed, and we started the whole process. And when I started the process, I knew what I wanted, and what I wanted was a place for people to come in and de-stress, an urban sanctuary where they can just come in and not worry about the outside world, and they can just give themselves an hour to sweat, an hour to sleep in the hot room, an hour to just relax and not care that their phones out here are ringing or that they have so much things to do. And so that's what I wanted in the studio, and every decision I make in the studio, I make sure that it's in line with those principles of it being an urban sanctuary for people to come in to relax and de-stress and to find their own practice. We don't have set sequences. I let, the teachers are very creative, and we let students here also explore any posture that they choose to. As long as it's done safely, and they're always more than welcome to ask. But it's those things where we are just a place for students to come and explore their own practice. One of the biggest goals is to create a strong community, a strong yoga community. And not just here, but we have a really strong yoga community in Seattle. It's huge. There's a lot of us. At times I feel that there's walls between studios. Not so much here. I get along great with our neighbors. I love Kylie at Moto, and I love Leah at Shefa. We're all ambassadors at Lululemon, and they're people I look up to because they've already been down this road. So I like to think that the yoga community in Green Lake is a little bit closer, and we're not so territorial about our space. And that's my goal, or kind of like the dream overall. I'd like to knock down some of those walls, be like, it's okay, share your students, let them experience their own experience. One of the things that again, on the community aspect, is we'll be offering free yoga every Sunday at 8 a.m. To help build a community aspect where it's really a donation-based class. So we will find a charity every month, and we as a studio will donate that money to the charity of the month that we choose to. A food drive, maybe we'll collect coats. It's getting cold outside, and when back to school, next year when it comes back, we'll start raising things to help people in need. I want to be a place where we're always giving. We want to give to the community, and not just to the yoga community, but the Seattle community and just everyone in general. So those are some of the markers that I would really like to see. Once I see that we're giving money to a community, to a charity, once we see, our food that we're collecting being out feeding somebody. Whenever there's a natural disaster, we want to be able to, even the smallest amount, we may not be able to give thousands and thousands of dollars, but we can help some way. And those are some of the markers that I'm really looking forward to hitting. I'd love for everyone to come in and check it out. Just come in, check out the space, check out our classes, and just come in and share your energy with us. Whether you're only here once in the next year, 2 years, or 3 years, just be a part of the growth. Go and experience new things.